Hi, my name is Johny Hendricks. I am the #1 contender. I'll be fighting for the belt March 15th here in Dallas, Texas. Robbie Lawler, he's a tough guy, very talented, but I gotta win. Yes and no, because each fight's different. Each fight is your last. So you got to go out there and say, I got to win this fight, because that's what everybody's going to remember. So that's what I have to do, is I have to go out there, prepare like this guy can beat me in every situation, and I have to go out there and prepare myself to make that not happen. I might have 6 months before I get the fight again. So I need to make sure I get a good win under my belt, so that way people remember a win, not a loss. 2 different programs. One, my last fight, is wrestling based. I knew that he had a jab, I knew he had a high kick, and I knew that he was going to try to ground and pound me, wrestle me down, try to hold me down, do those kind of things. Where Robbie's totally different. He's not going to use he's not going to shoot, he's going to try to knock you out. So, with that being said, I don't have to worry about that much with the wrestling. I prepared for the wrestling, but it's not my #1 outlook on this fight. My outlook on this fight is that he's going to be trying to wing his right hook a lot to knock me out. And that's what I have to be prepared for in this fight, to make sure that doesn't happen. The difference between being #1 or going back to the drawing board and having to, do another year of fighting to get back to where I want to be. So there's a lot riding on this fight. If I lose, that means you take a step back and you gotta fight 2, maybe 3 more times to get back to the belt. If I win, then I'm on top. Well, every fight you have to go in there thinking that it can go all 5 rounds. You have to win 2 out of the 3 rounds. There's some guys out there that you just can't finish. There's some guys out there that you can. So that's why it's very important to know when you can go for the finish, and know when you need to take a step back and do some different types of attacks. If you go in there thinking, oh, I'm gonna knock him out in the first round, where you train that way, you're gonna prepare that way, and you're gonna get out there, and if you don't knock him out in the first round, by the 3rd round you're gonna be exhausted. I can't afford that. But I will be looking for the finish at all costs. His last couple of fights, he does look like he gets a little tired in the 3rd round, but he's preparing for a 5-round fight. I gotta look at him saying he's gonna be ready for 5 rounds. He's gonna be in his best shape for 5 rounds. That's my outlook. That's the way I have to go into this fight. If I go in there thinking, oh, he gasses, well then, if he comes out strong the 4th round, then it's sort of, it's something that you weren't prepared for. So I need to make sure, hey, he can go all 5 rounds. He can do this. He can do that. How do you beat him? Whoever I'm fighting, what they're going to be looking for is my left hand, my shots. They don't know much about my ground game, which is great. That's the way I like it. The main focus is my left hand, and that's what a lot of people try to avoid. The more they're worried about my left hand, the easier it is to take people down and do some great damage. I always try to knock them out. I haven't finished somebody in the last, I think, 2 fights, so I really need to try to finish him at all costs. I'm definitely going to be looking to not go all 5, but if it does, I'm prepared for all 5 as well. I do a lot of video watching. When you start dissecting people's fighting styles, you look at them and you see that there's not a lot of difference. It doesn't matter who they're fighting, when they're fighting. It just matters how they get their hand raised. That's the things that you got to pick out. What makes this fight a little bit different is 2 southpaws, where it's usually orthodox, or I fight southpaw, so I'm fighting a lot of orthodox. So does he. But whenever he does fight southpaws, he doesn't really change up anything. It's sort of the same guy, and that's one thing that you have to understand, where he's dangerous at, what makes him dangerous, and when he's going to explode to be dangerous. Those are things that I really have to keep a close eye on and don't get lazy on. I fought a couple of guys that can knock people out, and it's a lot more fun to fight those guys because you got to be very technical on your feet. If you're not, you're going to get knocked out. So with that being said, this fight brings joy and excitement because not only for me but also for the fans. How is this fight going to play out? Is it going to play out on the feet? Is it not? Is it going to be a different type of battle? With me, I don't know because I like to go in there with multiple game plans, and I like to pick from 1 to 5. Out of 5 game plans, it might take all 5 to win the fight. I don't know yet, but I prepare myself for all 5, and what I'll do is I'll pick and choose from each one to better my chances in a win. It's the science behind it. You can't lose too much too fast, and I don't want to lose too much too soon. It's like a fine balance of where your body feels really good and where you're going to be at your best performance. Because, training is the hardest part of fighting. The fight is fun. So whenever you're sitting out there, this 3-month camp has been killer. Training here, doing this, doing that. And whenever you're out here and you just finally get to step into the octagon, it's a relief that you made it, because you're never going into a fight 100%. You try to get to the fight the closest you can to 100%. It felt good to hear Dana White say that he thought I won the fight. It shows that he cares about his fighters. He might have some of his favorites, but even though his favorites might lose, he's going to voice it. You know what I'm saying? And that's that's very, very good to hear. You know what I mean? Because one day, if I'm his favorite and I do get beat, but I don't think anything like that would happen. But if it does happen to me, then he's going to voice his opinion and say, yeah, I think you lost. But that's just staying true to him and true to his fighters. A lot of people think I won that fight. Even though I didn't, it's nice to know that there's people on my side. And with that being said, is that I have to train because I did such a good performance that fight. I have to back it up now. I'm going into this fight, since it is my back-to-back title shots, I'm looking at it as a title defense. I don't have the belt, but for me to prepare for the future, that's what I'm acting like. I'm the guy everybody wanted to come after, and I have to defend this belt. So that way, whenever it does happen, I can go with the exact same game plan for the future fights. My name is Johny Hendricks. I'll be fighting Robbie Lawler March 15th. Come watch me win the belt at UFC 171.